So when we talk about disconnection, we are not just talking about our lifestyle. We're talking about a loss of relationship with what we inherently are a part of. Welcome to Intuition Unlocked, the podcast for women who feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or like the version of themselves they're living no longer fits. This space empowers you to trust your intuition, restore inner and outer coherence, and reclaim self-trust so you can show up more clear, bold, and self-led in your life. I'm your host, Olivia Ashley, and I'm so glad you're here. Hello, and welcome to Intuition Unlocked. I am truly so grateful to have you here with me because I've been sitting with something that feels simple and yet incredibly profound around connection to ourselves and nature. And with it being Earth Day this week, I knew when I woke up today and was preparing for this episode that this is a conversation we need to have. And what this is really about is that we have forgotten how to be connected, not just to the earth, but to ourselves, our bodies, to each other, and the subtle layers of life that once felt natural to us. Because if you really pause and feel into it, so much of our modern life is lived slightly outside of ourselves, and we've normalized that. But today, I want us to remember that we don't have to stay there. I want us to explore in a deeper way, not just what disconnection looks like, but what it actually means and feels like. And so we're going to talk about how we slowly lost it, especially as women and intuitive beings, what it's costing us, and how we begin to remember our way back to it. Because I don't believe connection is something we need to go find. I think it's something we've always belonged to. We've just been taught to forget it. So let's dive into it. This topic is actually something I've really noticed since I was a young girl. I myself always felt connected to the plants, animals, and life around me. I felt my body and my intuition deeply, really from a young age. Often I chose to live quietly in my own inner sanctuary rather than being a part of the noisy, dramatic, busy world. I had this deep resonance within where I just knew and understood both myself and nature, the world around me in that sense. Yet what confused me and slowly eroded my trust to this connection was that no one really seemed to feel it the same way. So I ultimately believed something was odd with me or off. And then as I aged and my responsibilities grew, my mind and body began focusing on so many other things ahead of this relationship. It prioritized a bunch of other things, and so that connection quieted. And lately I've noticed little moments where I'm moving through the day, doing all the right things and staying on top of what needs to get done, yet I'm doing so in a subtly stressed state. And I'll notice that and I'll zoom in briefly to myself really quickly and realize, whoa, look how I'm feeling, look how I'm going through my day. And I notice that I haven't actually really felt anything. I haven't felt my body or listened to myself. I haven't really looked up and noticed what's around me, the smells, the light, the space. And I haven't dropped into the moment long enough to really be in relationship to myself and everything around me. I am just this busybody existing. And I think many of you can probably relate to that, even as spiritual, intuitive, more connected humans than most. And it's not because we don't care. We don't go into that space or go about our days because we're not caring. We step into that space and operate in this way because this way of being where we're slightly removed, slightly in our heads, slightly outside of ourselves and just focused on the task is what's become so normal. And that's where this all culminated and landed for me in a deeper way. This topic and the roots underneath this isn't just because of our busyness. It's because of disconnection. And disconnection isn't always obvious. It's not usually dramatic or painful even sometimes. It can be, but sometimes it looks like living in your thoughts instead of your body. Moving really quickly without actually sensing anything around you, or knowing a lot but feeling very little, or consuming more than you integrate and looking outward for guidance mostly rather than turning inward first. Disconnection is this subtle separation between you and your life. And what's important to understand is that it isn't just emotional or spiritual. It's actually biological. For most of human history, we lived within nature, not next to it, above it, or separate from it. We were deeply enmeshed in it, and our bodies evolved in relationship with the sunlight and soil, with plants and seasons and animals and the natural rhythms of things. That connection isn't philosophical. It's actually quite foundational to how we've evolved. We breathe what the earth produces. We are nourished by what grows from it, and our nervous systems regulate through contact with natural environments. For much of our history, in our ancestry, we were symbiotic for the most part with the natural world. And this biological connection shows up in research that tells us that connection to nature improves mental health, cognition, emotional regulation, and even our sense of meaning and purpose. So when we talk about disconnection, we are not just talking about our lifestyle. We're talking about a loss of relationship with what we inherently are a part of. And this is where I want to go even deeper, because it isn't just about modern life being busy or technological or us losing sight of the natural world. It's about a deep forgetting, because there was a time when women especially lived in deep relationship with ourselves and with life, with our cycles and seasons, with birth, death, and everything in between, with plants, food, medicine, land, and the community. Not in this romanticized way, but in a real, embodied, necessary way for our survival and thriving. As women, we are deeply attuned to patterns in nature, rhythms in the body, subtle shifts in energy, and what something feels like, not just what it looks like. Those are some of our gifts because of our womb, our heart, of our divine feminine way. And over time, much of that was lost, though. It was suppressed or deprioritized. And we moved into systems that valued efficiency over relationship, intellect over intuition, output over presence, a more mechanical way of thinking and relating to the world. And slowly, generation by generation, that deep relational intelligence began to fade. But it has not disappeared fully. It's just gone quiet and dormant. And now, because of that disappearance and that erosion of connection, we feel disconnected from our bodies. We feel unsure of our intuition or even unknown of what that is or feels like. We've removed ourselves from nature and from the cycles and the seasons and how we relate to them. And many of us are craving something deeper, but we don't know what it is or how to access it. So knowing that, what I want to say here is that doesn't mean all of that is gone or we're going to be stuck in this way now. It means these things just haven't been practiced and we can remember them. Because connection is not something new you learn. It's something ancient you remember. There's even emerging research suggesting that our connection to nature may be biologically and emotionally embedded, that it's something we carry across generations, not just something we intellectually understand, which means that memory is there, that understanding is in us. And so the pull that you're feeling is real. And it also means that this disconnection that has been created in our society and culture is costing us. There is a cost, because when we live disconnected, it doesn't just affect how we feel. It changes how we live and how we relate to our lives and each other. We see it in this loneliness epidemic that we are amidst of. We see it in this high rates of anxiety and stress and burnout. We see it in this lack of trust and faith in ourselves and society and each other. And we see it in the constant search for answers outside of us. We become a people who don't trust our bodies. We don't trust each other. We don't trust our intuition, and we don't trust the natural pace of life. Instead, we outsource. We outsource to the experts, to the algorithms and the trends, and whatever promises clarity or certainty. And at the same time as this relational aspect and this cost I see between each of us as humans, there is this lost relationship with the earth itself. We don't know where our food comes from. We don't know what grows in our environment. We don't understand the plants or herbs or ecosystems around us, or the cycles that govern our life. We see nature and the world outside of us as something to be used, to be taken, to own and walk upon, but not be in relationship with. And that loss of relationship creates something deeper than inconvenience. It creates a sense of disorientation because this is our home, as much as we have forgotten that. And what I've been feeling into more is that this disconnection doesn't just exist outwardly. It doesn't just exist with how we connect to each other, show up in our relationships, interact with the world around us. It exists inwardly too. That's why this topic is so important. In the same way we've lost touch with the earth, we've also lost touch with ourselves. We don't always know what our bodies are asking for, what our nervous system needs, what we're feeling truly beneath the surface, or what our intuition and this beautiful guidance system that connects us to ourselves and so much around us is quietly guiding us toward. Since we've become so used to looking outside of ourselves, our inner world has started to become unfamiliar. We've learned to override our own signals and second guess our instincts. We've disconnected from sensation that our body and our emotions and our spirit is sending us, and we analyze first instead of feeling. And just like we no longer know the land in the same way, many of us no longer know ourselves in this way either. And I don't say this with any judgment. I don't say this to mean that it's absolutely dire and to feel fear. Not at all. I say this with so much deep compassion because there is so much potential and power and aliveness on the other side of recapturing connection. Because when you really look at it, the relationship we have with the earth is a mirror of the relationship we have with ourselves. When we are disconnected from the earth, we are often disconnected from our bodies. When we are disconnected from the natural rhythms, we are often disconnected from our own cycles. And when we don't trust the intelligence of nature, when we override our understanding and try to play God, we often don't trust the intelligence within us and we lose faith in what we feel and sense. So this isn't two separate conversations. It's really the same one. The way we relate to the earth is often the way we relate to ourselves, something we depend on but have forgotten how to truly listen to. And research is beginning to reflect this in very real ways, showing that disconnection from nature is linked not only to declining mental health, but to a loss of meaning, regulation, and relational awareness overall. Because again, when you lose relationship with the earth, you lose relationship with yourself. So we can see what this disconnection is truly doing, what effect it's having on us, effect it's having on the planet, effect that it's having on our future if we don't start to understand and remember. And that's what's powerful because we can flip the script. So if we understand that when we're disconnected from the earth, we are often disconnected from ourselves, then look at the answer is right there. If we can reconnect with the earth, we have a much better chance at reconnecting with ourselves. The answer to connection is in understanding the roots of the disconnection that we are seeing. And it may look a little different for everyone. Not everyone's going to resonate with this the way I feel, but I offer this as one container and one path that is right in front of us and that we can control, that we can have a hand in changing. We can change this disconnection and shift it to something meaningful. So let's talk more about connection and what that is really. Because connection is not just getting outside more. It's not a checklist or just a relationship. It's the felt sense that you belong here. You are a part of something, and your body is not separate from the earth, but an extension of it. Connection can be feeling the sun on your skin and noticing it, noticing where that sun ray is coming from and the energy from it. It's eating something and knowing where it came from and feeling gratitude for that whole journey and everything and everyone that had to go into that process to bring that food to you. It's recognizing the season you're in, not just on the calendar, but in your body and in your life and what that affords you, what energy that can pull forward, what that is teaching you and offering you, and what you can integrate in your life because you understand that. And it's feeling your intuition as something quiet and steady beneath the noise. that compass and that anchor and that bridge between you and something much bigger than yourself. All of this is quite simple, quite subtle, but very powerful, very regulating to us. There is a reason people feel calmer, clearer, and more themselves when we're in nature. Because we return to a state our body recognizes. Because when we're out there with our hands in the soil, when we are planting a tree, when we sit next to a creek that's bubbling along, we return to a state that our body recognizes. We are in communion once more. So how do we come back to this state more often, to this connection and communion? And not in some surface level way, but in a way that really restores the connection here. I believe it starts by shifting how we see nature because it's a mirror to ourselves. Nature is not something we visit or only go into when we vacation. It's something we are constantly in relationship with, whether we notice it or not. It is not something out there, but something we are within. And from there, we turn it to ourselves. We start to notice that life is less about doing more and more about relating differently. So that might look like spending time outside, not to check a box, but actually notice. Or getting curious again and bringing in more wonder. It can be about noticing the plants around you and where they came from, the seasons you're moving through, and the cycles in your own body. It's about noticing what messages your body is sending you, what you need, what you feel, what you want more of and what you want less of. It's about relating to your neighbor, offering a meal, offering a wave. It's about connecting to your kids in a meaningful way, not scrolling as they play. It might even look like learning more, not from overwhelm, but from reverence. It could be understanding herbs not as trends, but as living medicines, or seeing food not as fuel, but as a relationship, or recognizing animals, ecosystems, and elements as a part of shared intelligence, not separate from you. And slowly, as you begin to open, as you begin to notice, as you begin to allow this relationship with the world around you to bloom, to take root, something will shift inside of you. And maybe nature isn't your thing. Maybe the herbs or food isn't your thing. Then I would offer you to start within, to start with that connection to yourself. What are you missing? What is needing tending to? Where can you shift your routine or your rhythms to feel more supportive, to feel like you're more embodied and present and not rushing from one thing to the next always? Whatever path you take, I can tell you that things will begin to feel differently if you stick with it and you really offer your time and attention to this connection. There will be more groundedness and presence in your life. You'll feel more aware to take in the small little things like a butterfly flying by, or stopping to notice the birds singing in the tree above you, or noticing your child as they're in awe building their Legos. There's just more trusting, more allowance, more surrendering that gets to happen when there is deeper connection in your life. Be it connection to you, be it connection to your intuition, be it connection to your food, to the plant outside your window, or to the ground underneath you. It's not always about adding in something new. I think things shift because you've returned to something ancient, something known for so long. And I really believe that this is where we're moving. We're shifting out of a paradigm of separation and into a paradigm of relationship, where healing is not just about the self, but about reconnecting to the systems we are all a part of, where intuition is not just internal, but it's relational. It's something that exists between you and your life and informs many aspects of your life. We're shifting to where being a woman, a mother, a guide, a leader means remembering how to be in connection, not just for yourself, but for the next generation. Because children don't learn connection just from information. They learn it from being in it, from watching how we live, how we relate, what we value. And I think many women feel this way right now. This pull back to intuitive living, natural rhythms, deeper presence, and more meaningful connection. And not as a trend that is just going to pass. It is a true returning to our roots. So if you've been feeling disconnected or resonate with this in any way, I want to remind you that you are never far from connection at any time. You are just practiced in disconnection, and that is very loud in your life right now. But that can change, not from doing more, but from creating some space to notice and remember through small moments of presence, through reconnecting to your body, through stepping back into relationship with the earth. It's about remembering that this is all a subtle language and it can feel so good. It's about remembering how much these relationships can offer you when you tend to them and are aware of them. Because connection is not something you have to create. It's something you come back to. It's already there. It's something your body already knows and the world around you is always offering, but you have to take the step. You have to make the choice. You have to shift into a new perspective. And maybe with this Earth Day, it's not just about appreciating the earth, but about remembering that you belong to it and you are a part of it, and what a miracle that is. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I truly hope that this episode resonated in some small way. And if it did, I'd love if you would share it with someone and spread this message. It is so important, and that's how we connect. And if you want to sit with something after this, you can journal on this question. Where in my life have I been living outside of relationship? And what would it feel like to come back? I have so much love for you. I am so grateful that you're here with me and that this is important to you because it is so deeply important to me. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for being here today. I am truly grateful you chose to spend this time with me and be a part of this community. If this episode resonated, I'd love for you to leave a rating and written review because it helps Intuition Unlocked reach more women who are ready to live clearer, bolder, and more self-led. As a thank you, screenshot your review and email it to me, and I'll send you a resource to support your next step. And until next time, root into your truth, rise into your power, and radiate your light.